Greetings, fellow gorehounds, and welcome back to a Blood Splattered vlog. I'm the Horror Guru.
And I'm Count Jackula.
And we're tired as fuck, because we had to re-record a vlog for Jack's channel for the second time because of a audio issue. So we're tired as hell, and I'm warning you from the get-go because I saw some people commenting on my last vlog about like, hey, Jack, you look tired. You getting some sleep? No, we're just filming this at like bumfuck in the morning.
Yep. Yep. We're getting, I don't know if we're getting enough sleep, but we're getting some.
There's been a lot of construction going on with the bathroom. And because of that, we've had to get up early as they work on it.
Yep.
And we're night owls, so we often stay up late. So that's our own faults, but whatever.
But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about a movie.
Yes, we're here to talk about Knife+Heart, which is a French giallo. And by that I mean a French film in the style of an Italian giallo. About a murderer on a gay porn set.
Yep.
That's currently available on Shudder. We are not sponsored by them. We are just fans. But I want to let you know where you can get it. And we really enjoyed this movie.
This movie is fan-fucking-tastic.
If you know anything about Italian giallos, basically an Italian giallo is really simple. It is a scenario.
But it says you, but
it is. It's a scenario in which some type of artist or investigator,
right,
is dealing with some sort of psychosexual killer who wears gloves and wields some sort of weapon.
Yes.
And usually you see the gloves more than you see anything else when they kill.
Yeah.
Depending upon the movie. Now, in this movie, you see the mask, which you also see in some other giallos. They're very similar to slasher films, but with a little bit more of a murder mystery angle to them.
They got, it's much more focused on the murder mystery of who is who and who is the killer and why are they doing it, rather than a slasher, which kind of they just tell you up front and then you just watch the bodies hit the floor.
Pretty much. In this one, they're trying to figure out who the fuck's doing it.
Yeah.
They're called giallos because they were based on little murder mysteries that were written on yellow paper. So they were called yellows in Italy. Italian for yellow is giallo, hence giallos.
Yep.
And that is why,
much like how we refer to a lot of stories as pulp.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a specific style because giallos were mainly made in the 70s and late 60s, 70s, and the 80s. And there was a very particular filmmaking style of Italian movies back then. For one, they were all filmed and dubbed over. Filmed silently and then dubbed over in post with whatever language they wanted to do.
Yeah, they were all massively influenced by Mario Bava's Gothic horror films.
Yeah, Mario Bava made a couple. Dario Argento made a couple. Sergio Martino. A lot of Italian filmmakers made giallos, and they were usually very stylish.
Yeah.
And this movie was made in the style of a 70s giallo, set in the 70s. It just so happens to be French. It's an interesting contrast between this and a movie like The Editor, which was a parody, homage, satire.
Yeah. It was a loving send up.
That movie was partially making fun of it while also recreating it. This movie feels like they just made a giallo.
Yeah, they just recreated
and
the look
did a
feel.
really good job of it.
Yeah, because they did everything. They did everything to emulate the look of movies like Cat in the Brain or
Cat in the Brain's an interesting one. That's one of the most interesting giallos because Cat in the Brain is basically the director writing himself as a giallo killer, losing his mind. But it doesn't have most of the giallo tropes, but like because he's a filmmaker who made giallo movies, he touches upon them.
Yeah, probably a better example would have been like Tenebrae or Deep Red.
Yeah, Tenebrae, Deep Red. There's a lot of Bird with the Crystal Plumage in this movie.
Oh, yes.
There's a direct reference, direct homage to the bird mask from Stage Fright.
Yep.
At one point in the movie. And there are other subtle things throughout the movie like that hint that like, no, we're not just making it giallo movies. We love
these things. Yeah.
And as someone who loves giallos, it was near and dear to my heart to see all that.
Yeah, and because there's
Like a knife.
Yeah. Well, the thing that's so great about it is the thing that makes a giallo movie is it's very dense.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way it's shot. It's the way the picture is framed. It is the way it is edited. It is the type of music. It's everything about filmmaking coming together to make a style of movie that is very specific and almost unique.
Yep.
And a lot of critics shit on at the time because they were assholes who didn't know what they had.
I mean,
sometimes they're made kind of cheaply.
Giallo's kind of sat in a similar vein of like kaiju films, in which people love to make fun of them because they were dubbed.
Yeah.
But people also genuinely love them. And I'm glad that the people who made this movie genuinely loved it, because it definitely made me feel like a kid renting these shitty Italian horror movies and having my mind blown over and over again.
Yeah.
But this movie did bring something new to the table, though.
Yes.
It is a 100% LGBTQ plus, however the letters go, horror movie. It is set.
It is very, very sympathetic.
Oh, super.
It's not like, oh my God, the killer is really a man who thinks he's a woman. Da-da! Which is,
that's what a lot of giallos did.
Yeah.
This movie kind of spins all the giallo tropes on its head while still staying true to the giallo.
Yeah, staying very true.
You have, it takes place on a gay porn set. Most of the murderers are gay porn stars. The main character trying to figure out who the hell is murdering the stars is the director of the porn flicks, who is a lesbian woman.
Yeah.
Or at least I don't believe they imply she's bi. She's just lesbian.
No.
Right?
She only ever shows.
Yeah.
Like it's one of those. She might be, but as far as the story is concerned,
she's
love. There is a guy that she's kind of in love with, which is kind of important at the end, but that's not the main relationship she's dealing with, and that's a very different type of relationship.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I got the idea that for her, the boy was platonic, but the boy liked her a little more. Like that's what.
Yeah. There are definitely shades of bisexuality in the story,
but either way, she's in a lesbian relationship essentially, and she hangs around at gay bars for most of the movie and lesbian bars. Her group of friends are a bunch of drag queens and transgenders. This movie is super LGBT, and it just so happens to be a giallo in which there is a person running around with a dildo knife fucking and killing people to death.
And normally in this kind of movie, you would have an investigator, like a legit private investigator or police officer, like kind of helping the main character along if they weren't the main character. This one, however, points out, the cops aren't going to help us.
Yeah.
They're not going to help us. Like, why? We're gay people in the 70s.
Yeah, and I liked that it kind of had like a nice little like, giallo movies often didn't have something greater to say about the world. This movie kind of did, because it kind of did have like it kind of evoked a bit of the AIDS scare.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, oh, they don't care about us. We're going to only have to defend our own,
Yeah. It had shadows of the AIDS scare. It had a lot of shades of just what it was like to be gay during that period of time. Some of it's still relevant, because I mean, like, people still like go to gay bars and stuff.
Well, yeah.
And they still make gay porn films.
There are parts in this where I'm just like, I could totally go downtown and see this enacted in real life.
Yeah, exactly. But the atmosphere around them is very different, because it's the 70s, not like 2019.
Yeah.
And I can't get over like how much love for the queer community this movie has.
Oh yeah. And as much love as it had for giallo movies, it had for the queer community.
Oh yeah,
and that was quite beautiful.
Yeah.
And on top of all that, it is a beautifully filmed movie. Like, they obviously studied the works of Argento and Bava and just incorporated the gorgeous cinematography throughout, and the use of colors in particular. And like it's a movie that I could pause almost any frame and just stare at and like be like, I want that on my wall. Like,
yeah. Like, there's another major aspect to a giallo film that this movie also has.
Oh yeah?
Which is, at some point, the main character either goes crazy or thinks they're going crazy.
Yes. It is quite common trope in giallos that the person investigating the murder or one of the investigators will either wonder if they themselves are the killer and they're losing their minds, or will wonder if their partner's the killer and is tricking them the entire time. In many ways, a lot of giallo movies are like if you crossed Seven with a slasher movie.
Yeah, very much so.
There is a point in this movie in which our main character starts to lose her own mind, and you as the viewer start to question a lot of things too as you're watching.
Oh
it.
yeah.
In particular, the way certain things are edited, you're not sure whose memory you're seeing. Is it hers or the person next to her?
Yeah,
or what?
yeah. Like what part? That's another thing. Like they giallos often move between personal thoughts, dreams, and reality very fluidly.
Oh, absolutely. And this movie incorporates that really well. So did the editor. The editor did that in a more comedic sense, but this movie did it in a more genuine sense. And
because up until the third act, you're really not sure what's going on.
No.
Like, all you know is that people are getting killed, but who is it? The movie does this beautiful thing where it knows who you think at any moment. It has misdirected you into thinking that the killer is somebody at any one point.
Yeah, and it's not doing it in the modern way. It's doing it in the giallo way.
Yeah.
So you could argue that in some moments it's cheating, but it's not. It's not.
Yeah, because there is this, and there's usually like this sort of unspoken low-level psychicness that is going on.
Oh yeah,
that's another big thing in a
lot of giallos will have this weird like supernatural element, like, oh, she can talk to bugs, or
like turns out the author is psychic. Turns out someone's related to a witch.
They'll have stuff like that. Absolutely. Man, I can't recommend this more. If you like giallo movies, then this is a must see. If you have never seen a giallo movie before, this would be a great one to start, because this does everything that giallos do well. Even better than some of the worst giallos. Like it's a better giallo movie than some of the movies made at the time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
If you want a good LGBT horror movie to see, like actual LGBT horror movie and not something like Cruising, then you should definitely check
I
this
saw
out.
a lot of reviewers comparing it to Cruising, and I was like, with the exception of it being about gay people, not really.
Stylistically, it has no relation, but I could at least see like some correlation between the whole like, going from sleazy gay dive bar to sleazy gay dive bar, and then there's a murder, and like I can kind of see how someone might associate the two. What I was seeing when I was watching this movie, when I thought of Cruising, was how much better this movie was at doing what Cruising tried to do.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, William Friedkin.
I love you, Bill Friedkin, but that's
Cruising
not one of your better ones.
That didn't quite.
It ain't no Exorcist.
No, ain't no Exorcist.
It ain't no Guardian.
Yeah. I actually have a soft spot for that movie.
So do I.
You know, it's like everything I love about that movie, I really love. But yeah, the only real problem I have with Guardian is that it does kind of drag in places.
Yeah.
But every time it's like, killer tree kills people, I'm like, this is the movie I was promised.
So, once again, you can find this movie on Shudder, and with that, I guess we'll go into the spoilers.
Spoilers, a lot of butt fucking.
Yeah, there's a shit ton of butt fucking in this movie.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the thing. When I first read about this movie, most people were talking about the lesbian relationship the main character has. No one told me it took place on a gay porn set. So when I first fucking started watching the movie and it was just wall to wall butt fucking, believe you me, I was thrown for a loop.
Yeah. This thing basically starts out with twinks having sex.
Oh yeah, and it goes from like gay bar to porn set to gay bar to creepy apartment to murder rape to
yeah. You're just sitting there like, oh,
and it's like it's full frontal, full backle. It is not hiding anything.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Actually, they don't show a lot of cock.
Oh, good point.
They don't show a lot of cock.
They mainly show the dildo.
The dildo knife. And that's another thing about it, Giallo. Sometimes there's a wacky weapon.
The dildo knife is what they mainly showed. I probably thought I saw more cock for the simple reason that the dildo keeps getting whipped out.
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of the movie, which is you don't actually see cock, but you leave believing you have.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because when I think about it, you're right. I probably just saw the dildo. There's a lot of man ass.
There's a ton of man ass. Yeah,
100%. And a whole lot of funny gags of people giving head.
Yes. Yes.
That's probably one of my favorite characters of this entire movie is the fluffer dude.
The fluffer? Yes.
He was adorable.
Yeah. Oh my God. You're so worried about him the whole time. You're like, oh no.
Well, because he has "I'm gonna die" written all over him.
He does. He absolutely does.
You know that if in a normal giallo, that guy would have been the body you found when you turned the corner.
Yeah. You'd have been like, Wah!
But thankfully, Fluffer lives.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, like in another one, they would have turned a corner and he would have fucking died, and there would have been like something like a pipe in his mouth going out the back of his skull or some shit.
That's the one thing this movie needed more, like the fast zoom ins on the dead corpse.
You're right, it didn't have that much. It needs more of that.
The editor had that, but this one didn't.
Yeah. Well, I think that might not have worked with the tone. No, but you're right, it didn't actually have that one.
Because this movie had a very effective and a very evocative tone. It was both hypersexual and hypertense. It reminded me of the fact that I kind of miss the sexual thriller. We don't get those much anymore. And in this sense, it's the sexual horror film.
Yeah. Oh my God. The one scene that is the most uncomfortable though is when the main character has like just kind of lost her mind and is desperately trying to get her girlfriend back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's a point where she like straight up fucking molests her.
Yeah.
And it's fucked up because it's one of those like she's molesting her while she's trying to get her to come back to her, and she's fucking losing her mind and she's crying, and it's really uncomfortable.
And if I recall correctly, that's also the scene in which like the killer's looking on while it's happening.
Yes.
And so you have that added dimension of fucked upness.
Yeah.
And what I like about that scene is that's one of those scenes where you as the viewer start going like, okay, was the killer actually there, or is it just in her head, or like?
Well, yeah, because like one of the things that the movie is doing is it's trying to indicate that the main character is the killer. We're going to go in that direction.
It also did the giallo thing, which like it leads you to believe each character could possibly be the killer, only to at the end reveal, oh, it was this thing we mentioned at the beginning.
Yeah, it's this other thing. Yeah. It has to do with that thing that we offhandedly mentioned in the beginning, but I predicted it was going to be like, all right, look, given the way this is going, this is going to go one two ways. Either director is the killer, which I doubt because we're trying really hard to make her look like the killer.
For a while, I was suspecting her girlfriend.
Yeah, I was suspecting her too. I was like, well, maybe it's the girlfriend. But the other one that right off the bat, I was like, all right, given the way this is going, I am predicting that it's either going to be her or it's going to be a character we have never fucking mentioned until 10 minutes before they show up.
And which happens.
Yeah.
The most obvious red herring is bi dude who's into her.
Yes.
Most obvious red herring because he kind of looks like the killer does.
Yeah.
He's got a similar build, and you could just imagine him putting on the black wig or something like that. The other obvious red herring is the twink that she hires from the lumberyard.
Oh yeah. Yeah. She hires this one guy in a lumber yard, and he's like, "Well, I'm not gay," and she's like, "That's what they all say."
It was definitely one of those. Well, I'm not gay, but $5 is $5.
Yeah. But the thing I actually really liked at the end is, okay, first of all, by the end of the movie, like, yeah, he's had a man ream him up the ass a few times.
But he's still like denying advances. And
Yeah,
stuff.
he's still kind of denying advances, but like, he's kind of like, you're watching someone like come out to themselves.
Yeah, especially like when they get the flashlight to go into the hall where all the gay dudes are waiting with the flashlights.
Yeah.
Looking each other over. Like
Yeah.
that's like, you could tell this was like the moment where he was going to make the plunge one way or another.
Yeah.
For really reals.
Yeah.
And not just for pay.
Yeah. He's going to do this for real. And then it turns out that this is all a setup to catch the killer.
Mm-hmm.
That was set up by the porn studio and the director to catch the killer.
Yep.
And
because
damn.
Yeah. I'm not even going to tell you the actual twist. I'm going to let you guys find that out for yourselves. But it is satisfying.
It's very satisfying
because it does track with what they've talked about throughout the movie and some of the things they've said, like, oh, hey, you look kind of like that guy. You know, like, it all comes together.
This is definitely a roller coaster. You have an idea where it's going and how it's going to work, but going on the ride is the thing. 100%. That's the movie.
And if you're a Giallo fan, you're going to be sitting there going like, oh, man, that moment's like the bird with the crystal plumage.
Yeah.
That scene's like the psychic. Oh, man, that one's like what happened to Dr. Solange. Like,
yeah. What happened to Solange?
What happened to Solange, yeah. You know, like you're going to be sitting there.
I was thinking that one too, actually.
Yeah. What is it? Whatever happened to Solange?
Yeah, whatever happened to Solange.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Giallos also tend to have really long titles, so I appreciate this one just being Knife+Heart.
Knife+Heart, yeah.
Because if it were truly a Giallo, it would have been Knife into the heart of your vertebrae.
Yeah.
Twitch of the death nerve.
Yeah. Knife coming, cock coming out of the dark.
Yes. It would have had like a really long, kind of pretentious title, like an emo song or something.
Yeah,
like a Fall Out Boy song.
Yeah. Whatever happened to Solange? That's Camille Keaton.
Yep, it is. It is. That's the thing about Italian giallos too, is that often Italian giallos weren't just Italian. They were hiring people from all over, and they were allowing them to film it because they were filming it silent in whatever language they had naturally. That's why when you're watching an Italian giallo movie, sometimes it looks like the lips are syncing because they are.
Yeah, because that actor's actually speaking English.
And other times they're not syncing because that actor was speaking Italian or French or whatever the fuck their language was, and then they were dubbed over by someone else.
Yeah, and there are a lot of famous actors. I've been in giallos, a lot of famous character actors, like Udo Kier has been in a lot of them. Mentioned Camille Keaton. Jennifer Connelly.
Oh, yeah.
Jennifer Connelly. Yeah. She was in Phenomena.
Yeah, ironically, I think that was when he was making movies in America, because some of the Italian filmmakers would come over here and make movies like New York Ripper.
Yeah. But the weird thing about those movies is they still have the dubbing thing. It's just, it's real weird.
My favorite of the American but still Italian giallo hybrids is Pieces.
Oh, Pieces.
Pieces is because that's a giallo filmmaker making an American slasher.
Yes,
that's what that film is.
Yeah.
And you can see that there's a difference because it's not 100% a giallo, but it's also not 100% a slasher.
Yeah, and if you're like, oh, I saw Pieces once, it wasn't that great. You probably didn't finish the movie, because that is an 80-minute build up to a 2-minute payoff.
That ending is just
it's beautiful. It makes everything else worth it.
Praise be to the horror gods.
And it's got that. Actually, the weirdest thing that I realized, like watching that movie, a little bit more recently, like I had seen it when I was like 15, and if time goes on, I was like, hey, I think I'll watch Pieces again. And all of a sudden I realize, wait a minute, this main character, I've seen him in something before.
Ha!
Holy
That's right.
shit, he's the guy from Pod People.
That's right. That's
Holy
right. He is.
shit. 10 out of 10.
And when we're talking about pieces and not the movie we want to talk about, which we highly recommend, it's probably about time we wrap this up.
Well, that's what the movie does. It rekindles your love for that whole style.
Exactly. Like, after watching the movie, I just wanted to sit down and just binge Argento films.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I'm like, do we have Burrow Christopher Plumage? Do we got whatever happens? You know, this is good movies, man.
I think we have Deep Red over there.
We do have Deep Red,
Yeah.
but I've seen that one. I've seen most recently.
Yeah, that's true. That's
So
true.
I at
I
least
showed that
wanna-
to Lizzie.
Yeah, I'd rather at least Stendhal syndrome. or something
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
there we go. There we go.
All
So
right.
where can they find you, Count Jackula?
All right, you can find me on Twitter, Count_Jackula. You can find me on Instagram, Satanic Jackula, one word, and you can find me on Twitch, Count_Jackula, and I stream twice a week here on YouTube at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Thursday, and again on Sunday at 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we talk about all kinds of weird things like, you know, occultism, Satan, weird murders, and sometimes just weird shit, man.
Weird shit.
Weird shit.
Sometimes even giallo films.
Oh, yeah.
Come in there, drop Stendhal syndrome, and then just go off for fucking hours on that.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. We'll tell you all about the mythical and cultural context of this goddamn film and how it intersects with Heavy Metal Magazine. Did you know that? You did not.
And y'all know me, I'm the Horror Guru. You can find me at the Horror Guru on Twitter, on Twitch, on Facebook. Just look up the Horror Guru or Blood Splattered Cinema, and I'll be there. And I'll include the links in the description below. And as per usual, my fellow Gorehounds, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to ring that notification bell so that you're notified of my videos immediately upon their upload. And don't forget to check out our Patreons, which I'll also link in the description below. And remember, if you choose to go to the Patreon route, even $1 a month can go a long way. And I think I said everything I usually say. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. So, we're gonna go watch some giallo films, or take a nap, one of the two. Peace out, my fellow Gorehounds, and I'll catch y'all later.
Gonna dream of getting butt fucked by Lucio Fulci, I'm telling you.
I've had worse.